evening, everyone, and welcome. This is the regular meeting of the Buckeye Local Schools Board of Education. This is Tuesday, March 12th, and we're ready at 7:02 p.m. Roll call, please.
Berko?
Here.
Humphrey?
Here.
Manson?
Here.
Tabarchi? Here. Dahl?
Here.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. There's a flag above your heads. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, there are a few seats up front. The mission of the Buckeye Local School District is to empower students to excel in a highly competitive society. Meeting agenda statement. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. Approval of minutes. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the minutes for the special and regular meetings of February 12th, 2019, and the special meeting of February 27th, 2019. A motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Dahl?
Yes.
Berko?
Yes.
Manson?
Yes.
Tabarchi? Yes. Humphrey?
Yes. The following are recommendations that have been identified for approval as part of the consent agenda for this meeting. If a board member wishes to remove any item from the agenda for further discussion prior to taking action, please let either the superintendent or the board president know. Approval of consent agenda. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the consent agenda of March 12, 2019 as presented. A motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Manson?
Yes.
Tabarchi? Yes. Dahl?
Yes.
Berko?
Yes.
Humphrey?
Yes. Mr. Morgan, the superintendent's special guest.
We do have a number of special guests, and we thank you all for coming this evening. We would like to start off by recognizing our students of the month. If our administrators would come forward, please.
John will go first. I'm calling out on the culinary side, and this is our fourth grader, John Delata. And Mrs. Sarmiento had recommended him for Student of the Month, and this is what she had to say about John. John deserves this honor because he is a bright, kind, and hardworking young man. He comes to school eager to learn and always puts a smile on her face. He also enjoys challenging himself and consistently goes above and beyond what is expected. His love of learning is truly inspiring. In addition, he is a friend of everyone and a pleasure to be around. John is a leader among his peers and a shining example of what it means to be a Buckeye Buck. Congratulations.
Next, I'm very proud to present Ms. Kelsey Bellick as the primary student of the month. Mr. Brennan-Stahl had these very nice things to say, don't be nervous. Kelsey Bellick is not only a wonderful student, but a great person. She works hard in her academics, and it shows in the gains she's made this year. When she's learning something new and challenged, she will never give up and continues to work hard until it is completed. Kelsey has strong skills in math and is a great problem solver. She is a dream to teach, and she will always try her best. What stands out even more about Kelsey is her personality. A few words that come to mind when I think of Kelsey are polite, helpful, funny, hardworking, caring, and kind. She's always willing to help her teacher and other students. And she's also very caring, kind, and will go out of her way to help others. Kelsey is always setting a great example to others to follow and deserves this acknowledgement. In her spare time, she likes to ride her scooter with her sister, is that right? Play softball, Mr. Manson, and she might want to be a teacher, and one of her favorite things about school is being in the class of the only male teacher in the building. Good job. Congratulations.
Good evening, I'm Mr. Flood. I'm the principal of Buckeye Junior High, and with me this evening is Sandra Delata and the team of Mrs. Keith, Mrs. Hassel, Mrs. Middlemas, and Mr. Reinbrecht would really like to recognize her because she's on their team, and they chose her this month as our Student of the Month. Here's some of the kind words that they had to say about Sandra. We'd like to congratulate Sandra on being named Student of the Month. She is being chosen because of her leadership, dedication, and work ethic. Sandra is a diligent student going above and beyond, inside and outside of the classroom, completing assignments, but also helping teachers and students. Extracurricular activities play a big role in Sandra's life. She loves science and is grateful for the opportunity to participate in the Group Goldberg Science Competition, which allows her to explore engineering and design. Last year, I believe, they finished first and second of all of the teams from all over that entered into this competition. And most recently, we have a Science Olympiad team that was started at the junior high this year, and Sandra is on that team. They went down 2 weeks ago, competed, qualified for state, and they now at the end of this month will be, or at the end of April will be competing down for the state tournament for that. So this is Sandra Delata, everybody, and I'm sure you're going to know her name because she's up to great things.
Good evening, I'm Kevin Jacob. I'm the principal at Buckeye High School. And with me tonight is Ethan Cooper. We're proud to have Ethan as one of our students of the month for the month of March. Ethan is a junior at Buckeye High School, and when we select our candidates, we have a committee of teachers and students chaired by our attendance secretary, Ms. Inman, that bring nominations forward, and we look at a host of characteristics from academics to community service to character and leadership. And one of the things that separated Ethan this month from some of his peers was the amazing leadership qualities that he shows in the extracurricular activities that he's involved in. Ethan's an active member of our baseball program. He is very excited about the new uniforms and the brand new field that's getting ready to get unveiled here in a couple of weeks once the weather warms up a little bit. Found out today from him that he actually has an interest in becoming a turf manager one day. So taking care of athletic field, golf courses, things along those lines. Mom and Dad said they're planning on moving down south into the Arizona area. Ethan is welcome to come, but not too close. Mom made sure that he understood that he wasn't living with them, but in the vicinity of them. Something about the grocery, though. Most especially, though, involvement in Ethan, though, is one of the things that really stands about him, as he is a dedicated member of our Key Club and also our Stand By Me Club. He is one of the founding members of the Stand By Me organization that started in the 7th grade at the middle school, that they have carried on up to the high school, and Ethan is instrumental in that organization. The first time I really met Ethan was at a Stand By Me event in which he was helping coordinate a food drive for our food pantry, and he was walking across the cafeteria with 2 boxes of foods on his shoulder, asking me where he could put it, if he wanted me to unpack it, how I wanted it organized, all things I hadn't thought about at the moment. Ethan was about 5 or 6 steps ahead. So he is here because of his unbelievable dedication to his classmates, his school, and most importantly, his community. So congratulations, Ethan. Thanks for being here. That doesn't get lost in the Arizona. Our other student, we're going to continue our trend of only met 50% because she had another event to be at this evening, is Dina Yusanovich. Dina is also a junior at Buckeye High School. She currently ranks #2 in the class. So she is an outstanding student. She is enrolled in some of our most rigorous curriculum programs, from anatomy to college credit French. She's also currently taking United States AP Government, also enrolled in AP Euro. She told me one of the reasons she couldn't make it tonight is because she had a 10-page reading assignment that she had to nail. So she wasn't going to be able to make it because she was prepping for a big test she has tomorrow. She is a member of our flag guard and our color guard team. She is also a member of the president of SAD and an active member of our huddle program as well. Dina really exemplified leadership as well as she joined the Medina County Junior Leadership this year, where she worked with one of our other students, Maya Mills, on a campaign for fundraising. What they did is they sponsored a Jeans Day that Jeans Month that Mr. Morgan graciously agreed to accept for the month of February for teachers, where they raised over $1,200 from the teaching staff at Buckeye High School that they're utilizing to put together care packages for students that were released from the Medina County Juvenile Detention Center. That was the work of Maya and Dina together as part of the Medina County Leadership Group. So she is one of our very best students. She couldn't make it tonight, unfortunately, like I said, but congratulations to Dina Yusanovich, one of Buckeye's best.
This time I'd like to have Ms. Janice Bolar come up to introduce some other outstanding students that represent Buckeye across the county for the last couple weeks.
All right, if you are one of my spelling bee participants, why don't you come on up? Oh, okay. We're missing one student because they're involved with the media production, so very busy night for that. So these students that we have up here, I will give you their names in a moment, but I just want to let you know that we had 2 students representing the intermediate school at the Medina County Spelling Bee. They won here for Buckeye Intermediate for the 6th grade. So they won within their classroom, and then they competed. I'm going to ask Mrs. King-Baker, how many students did we have for the 6th grade spelling bee that day?
About 20, I think 28.
Okay, I was going to say around 30. So yeah, so out of 28 students, they rose to the top, and I'm telling you, the day of their competition, it was word after word after word, and they just kept winning and winning and winning, and we ran out of time that day. It had to be continued to the next day, so they won for the school building, and then were invited to come to the county spelling bee, along with 3 Buckeye Junior High students, Michael Buckler, who's not here, and then we have Tyler, and we have Sophia here. And again, I came to their competition within Dr. Crabtree's classroom, and you guys ended up running out of time that day because everybody kept spelling correctly, and it had to be continued to the next day. So we have some pretty fantastic spellers. And Tyler was able to score, or I shouldn't say score, but spell his way to the top 6 in the entire county, and participated just this past Saturday for the Akron Beacon Regional Spelling Bee. And although he did not make it past that, that is quite an honor. And really, for all of these students, making it that far is fantastic. So again, we have Tyler, Michael, who is with Mama Mia this evening. Let me get that to him. We have Sophia, Madeline, and we have Nicole. So please give them a round of applause. Hi, it's me again. I would love for Joseph DePue and Nick Stepnescu to come on up. These are our district winners for our school geography bee. So we run a geography bee at grade 5 to represent the intermediate school, and then the junior high also has a winner for the geography bee, which was Nick this year. And both of these students, again, would have competed within their classroom and then moved to the school bee. And then from there, it was narrowed down. And I can tell you that for our geography bee at the intermediate, once again, we kept getting answers correct, and then we had to go to the next day. So we have some very bright students in this district, and they make it hard to fit things within one day event. But these two gentlemen then competed to go to the state competition, which for that, they have to take an online test. It's timed, and then they're competing against all of the other school winners across the entire state for an opportunity to be invited down to Columbus. And unfortunately, this year we didn't make it, but that is okay, because again, you guys have so much to be proud of, and I'm always impressed with all of their geography skills. And it's not just knowing where things are on a map. There's questions that involve culture, different regions, and it's very impressive to hear what these students have learned. So please give Nick and Joey a round of applause. See you again. I would love for my 24 winners to please come forward. So every year, the Medina County ESC puts on a 24 tournament for all 4th graders across the county. And so what we do here at Buckeye, we do a 24 tournament for all 4th graders to participate, and we narrow it down to the top 16 students in the entire grade level. Those 16 students will then work with me to practice, and what it is a game, okay? Mr. Stahl, you, right? I think they're all a little jumpy because we made them play last year, so you don't have to play tonight. But what it is, the kids get a card, and they have to be the first to touch this card, and they have to figure out the equation, and the answer is always 24. So you get these cards, and you have to figure out a way to multiply, divide, add, or subtract in order to get 24. And I see everyone staring, trying to figure out this card. So anybody? I didn't look yet, but I'll let the kids. Sophia's got it. What do you think? I'm not looking at it.
What are the numbers?
Oh, 1, 3, 2, and 4. 1, 3, 2, and 4.
4 times 2 is 8. 3 minus 1 is 2. That's 16.
That's correct, but it's not.
You really actually know those.
You want to try again?
Yeah.
All right, let's just repeat it.
4 times 2 is 8 times 3 is 24 times 1 is 24.
There you go. And there could be a whole variety of ways, but you have to be really fast with your facts. You have to be the first to touch the card, and you have to say it right. And it is difficult because you're thinking on your feet. And it's one thing to practice with your peers in the ILC, right? But then when you get down there and there's 96 kids from across the county, it starts to get real, doesn't it? And these kids did a fantastic job. These are our top 3 finishers for the district at the county level. So we have, oops, wrong stack. We have Emlyn Simoski, Kate Shear, and we have Nolan Quinfield. And I want to let you know that Kate here scored in the top 3 out of the entire county at the tournament this year. So we had a top 3 finisher from Buckeye, which is awesome.
Our last group of skiing are also athletes. They're very dedicated and successful wrestlers that just got back from the state wrestling tournament, and Coach Conkle is here to introduce them to us. He had another great year as well, winning the pack and sending 3 wrestlers to state. So come on up, Coach Conkle.
Well, we have 2 out of the 3 here. This is the 5th year in a row that we've had participants at the state wrestling tournament. It's the 4th year that we've sent more than 1. We have Logan Cravatas here. He was the alternate at 106 pounds. We have Eddie Pins, who was state qualifier at 113 pounds. And Anthony Ashley is actually his 2nd time qualifying for state at 126 pounds. So when they go down to the state tournament, the first thing they give us is a big packet, has their state OHSAA certificate in there for being a participant. We hand these out in a frame at the banquet for them and everything. I think the wrestlers would tell you it is quite an experience when you go down there. There's usually around 15 to 20,000 people there the first night, and they bring you out through a darkened tunnel onto the arena floor. They have 10 mats down there, and when you're in this narrow tunnel coming out into the St. Schottenstein Arena, it's a little intimidating, would you say, Eddie? So it's quite an experience, and I would say that everybody that goes down there, the one thing that they leave with is, I want to be back. I want to do this again, because it is quite a experience for them. I brought along my assistant coach, Steve Rapanovic, and it's just to recognize all the work that all the coaches within the system put in. Some people know what these kids go through. I'm an early bird. If we have an 8 o'clock weigh-in at, say, West Combs, we're leaving Buckeye High School at like 6:15 to get down to West Combs, and then we typically get back around 9, 10 o'clock at night. And the constant weight battles that some of them go through throughout the season. So Eddie Pence and Anthony Ashley participated. We went 1-4 on the weekend, and then Logan Cravatas was the alternate. We were hoping to get him onto the floor, but everybody made weight. So, anything you'd like to say? Steve? Okay. All right, thank you.
Folks, we're going to take a little break in the action here so we can take some pictures of our students who have received awards tonight. We'll go back to the treasurer's report, which we're going to skip over for a minute.
Treasurer's report, recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education accept the treasurer's report as presented with all internal budgets, amended certificates, and appropriations to the county auditor as filed today. Approve the workers' compensation group rating program, recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the re-enrollment in the Ohio School Count 2020 Workers' Compensation Group rating program. This program guides the claims management services for workers' compensation and unemployment compensation. The annual fee is $2,065 for policy year 2020, with an estimated return savings of $13,055. Letter C, adopt the tax rate. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education adopt a tax rate of 62.10 mils for FY20.
commencing July 1st, 2019, as determined by the Budget Commission, as follows and illustrated in Appendix B, which I know you can't see, but it's all the millage from Schedule B for general fund, outside millage, emergency level levy, outside millage, general fund inside, permanent improvement inside millage, and then bond retirement outside millage. And lastly, approval of paid to participate fee classification. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education allow student athletes who have participated in club sports to follow the reduced school-sponsored athletics payment fee schedule when they next participate in a school-sponsored sport within the same year. The club sport payment may vary from the school-sponsored paid to participate fee schedule. So what this is saying is that if you participated in the club sport as your first sport and you're doing a school-sponsored as your second, you would then be on the fee schedule for a second. And so forth for the athletes. All right, motion for the treasurer's items.
So moved.
In a second.
Second.
Any questions on any of these items? Roll call, please.
Havarchi?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Copeland?
Yes. Public participation. The public is invited to speak to any of the agenda items and other school topics. Comments should be limited to 3 minutes. Direct questions will not be answered by the Board of Education members at this time. However, answers will be given at a later date as appropriate. Is there anyone who wishes to address the board this evening? Seeing none, now we're ready again.
We're working on it.
For the superintendent's information.
I can jump down to B, C, and D. There you go. So we have our late arrival tomorrow, Wednesday, March 13th. We have spring break coming up for the week of March 25th to 29th. And we had Buckeye Day last week, and just wanted to thank my secretary, Vicki Calvin, for organizing and setting up for the event, as well as our custodial staff. And it was a good turnout again, and had a lot of talented students participating in the music presentations in the gym, as well as the art show in the cafeteria. So another successful Buckeye Day. I should have spoke slower.
Mamma Mia is coming up this weekend.
Mom, is coming up this week. Please get your tickets.
Thank you.
And now we'll have our administrative presentation, starting off with our 6th grade recycling club.
Good evening. I had a few teachers in the 6th grade, Mrs. King and Mrs. Johnston, approached me earlier in the school year, right as school was starting, and were very excited and interested in starting the recycling club on the intermediate side. And I said, that sounds like a fantastic idea, because I know we go through probably enough paper to start a club. So they worked together and got their classes together. I'm not going to talk too much because I'm going to let the kids do the talking. So I'd like to introduce the 4 students that are going to present to you this evening. That's Nate Miller, Grace Miller, no relation there, Jenna Orient, and Matthew Sash. Come on up, and I'll be your clicker.
How it all started. Miss King and Miss Johnson wanted to prepare their classes for a learning service project. Miss Miller was already running a recycling on the primary side. Also, Miss Johnson and Miss King wanted their students to make a difference.
That's, of course, all the office trash. There's a lot of that.
What we have learned from this experience. We have learned that recycling is a very good thing and that not recycling harms plants and animals' habitats. We've also learned how to cooperate with each other and work as a team. Some fascinating facts that our classmates have learned from this recycling journey is school waste is up to 80% recycling. Schools make a huge impact when they recycle.
On Fridays, after we empty the bins, the recycling bin outside the school is filled to the top. Imagine all the recycling we will have collected at the end of the school year and how much that will help the planet. Where we started. Mrs. King and Mrs. Johnson started out after school taking our recycling bags and filling the Johnson truck up with bags of recycling. Mrs. King and Mrs. Johnson have all bags of Mrs. Johnson and Mrs. King's classes went from collecting cardboard boxes to bags, now to big blue plastic bins that are much easier to handle with carrying out from the recyclables back to our new recycling bin.
I'd like to thank,
We are local team of BOE Meeting.
I'd like to really thank Mrs. King and Mrs. Johnson too for starting this. I really appreciate that, and let's give them a round of applause.
Our school even lets our Buckeye community use the big recycling bin in the back of the elementary building.
Thank you very much. If those students and their families would like to leave at this time, it's fine with us.
We're going to take a little trip back in time. So, I'll let you. Do you want to be my co-pilot here? So before I go into kind of the meat of what we're going to talk about today, we do need to take a little trip back in time to 3 years ago at Buckeye High School when Mr. Tudor, who was the principal there at the time, realized that we needed to do something in terms of helping our students who were struggling and kind of carving out some time in the day to help pull students in to get intervention time within their day. So it started off as about 23 minutes at the end of the day. That didn't work so well. We moved it to the beginning of the day. That worked a little bit better. But at the beginning of this year, Mr. Jacob and I sat down and identified how can we make Buckeye period, which I'm sure many of you already know what Buckeye period is. It's an intervention period in the day. Now, how can we make Buckeye period better and more effective use of time? And so Mr. Jacob kind of turned it over to me this year and said, run wild, do what you do, and figure out the best way to get this done. So this year we have about midpoint of the year, starting in February, we relaunched what Buckeye period was. And go ahead. We noticed that there was a need for change. Buckeye period is a great opportunity to bring students in. But really what had occurred over the last 4 years at the high school, we've been running the Buckeye period, which was a 23-minute period at the start of the day. It was, again, intended for students to access teachers for additional academic support. Unfortunately, it's no fault of our students or our staff. The staff-to-student ratio created a difficult headache, if you will, for staff to be able to meet with students one-on-one, small group, for small group instruction. And so really what Buckeye period turned into was a study hall in the mornings, where kids were doing work, they were doing math homework and those types of things, but they weren't able to really get the intervention time, small group time with their teachers. And speaking with a number of other schools in the area who were trying to do the same thing, kind of went through what the problems were and kind of tried to figure out what we were going to do to make this period work. Because it's been tried in other schools and it has failed in other schools. And I wanted to make sure that if we were going to go down the road of creating an intervention period, it was going to be successful and something that was going to last for a very long time. So additionally, we lacked, and this is one thing that most schools, I talked to Hudson, I talked to Aurora, Twinsburg, once we got this off the ground, they all wanted to know, how do you do attendance? There's one thing when you're running an intervention period, you're going to have kids flying all over the building. And that's great for high school kids to be able to go from one place to the other. But we also need to be accountable for our students. So we really sat down with Mr. Green, one of our science teachers. We figured out a way to run a live Google Doc for teachers to put students' names into the live Google Doc for all staff to see when we do our morning attendance through that structure as well. So there were a lot of moving pieces and parts to make this work and be successful. So what did we change? So through work with our BLT, we identified that our staff members were meeting in departments twice a week, 8 times a month. And they really meant that they were very sincere when they said that that was simply just too much. 8 times in a month was too much, and there was, I don't want to say not enough to do, but we could use that time better. So each department now meets in PLCs only once a week, so they only meet 4 times a month, and has 1 day a week specifically designed to invite students into their own classroom, because before they were in various classrooms throughout the week. We figured out a system to get them back into their classrooms. They're only meeting in PLCs once a week, and now they're able to meet with students who they invite into their classroom once a week. So Mondays English, Tuesdays math, Wednesdays social studies, so on and so forth. Students who are assigned an intervention lab go immediately to that teacher, first thing in the morning. So they're coming through the door, they're not even going to their Buckeye period anymore. They're going directly to that teacher, because we only have 23 minutes in the day. So during that time, so we needed to make sure that we were getting them there as quickly as we could so we could get that work done. So those students go immediately there, and attendance is done to get help from their actual content teacher. So the problem that existed with the old Buckeye period structure is they were assigned to a teacher that may not have even been their English teacher. They would have had to have left that room to go find their English teacher, and that English teacher potentially could have 30, 32 kids in that room. So now what we've been able to do is eliminate that entire problem. We've also created additional opportunities. So this is an academic intervention time. And one thing that Mr. Jacob and I really wanted to make sure that we were adding to this whole structure were additional opportunities for teachers to provide enrichment opportunities and run student groups during the day. So far, we have 4. And I will tell you that those 4 have been really, really popular. If you ever want to come in and meditate on Friday morning, all right, I went once, in school, it was all right. But meditation and mindfulness with Mr. Syria, it started off with 4 kids. Last week we had 57. With 57 students come to our auditorium for 23 minutes. And the week that I was there, I've never seen students take something quite so seriously. And it was really pretty awe-inspiring seeing those students engaging in something to help them kind of identify that they do need to, every once in a while, calm down and take a deep breath and relax and be mindful. Mr. Bailey's been running STEM Club during this time period. Ms. Dovin, who used to be with Sunhausen, is running math games. Apparently there's a new app math game. I don't know what it's called off the top of my head, but the kids love it. And they've been going to her room on her non-intervention day and playing math games. So it's a nice way to have some fun while also doing that. And we are also running medical club with Mr. Bendel. And I had the unfortunate experience the last Friday of walking in when they were dissecting sheep hearts. And I could smell it coming down the hallway. It took me back to high school for a second, and I walked in for a second and immediately walked out. But those kids were really, really engaged in that. We've been running this since February, and I ran the numbers from our attendance sheet. And these numbers are really impressive. They really are. For something that changed in the middle of the year, students were not ready for this. Staff was learning how to run the structure and what to do. So these numbers are impressive. The fact that we've been doing this for only a month. Average number of students per day Going to content area small group interventions is about 50. Today was a little less because we're at the beginning of the new grading period, but last week we were well over 50 students per intervention period going in and getting additional help. Number of students receiving content intervention in the month of February, we had 950 high school kids going in during Buckeye period and getting intervention. And then the number, I had to have fun with some numbers. I knew this was going to be a big number, and it was fun, but number of total hours students received additional support during the school day, 364 hours, which seems like a lot. But when you have 50 kids going every day to get additional help from their teachers 5 days a week, those numbers are really beginning to add up. And you're going to see through some of the next comments. Oh, sorry, there's a couple of goals moving forward, but you're going to see through some of the comments that the teachers are really beginning to see positives coming out of this. But before we look at some of those quotes, here are some of the goals moving forward. And Mr. Jacob back now, so you can kind of jump in if you want. But we're looking at ways to possibly move the intervention period to the middle of the school day. How could we, because we still have students who, in the morning, they're still kind of waking up. How can we move it to the middle of the day so they're already there and we can use that time in the middle of the day? Possibly create a midweek block schedule period for extended intervention time. So maybe one day a week on maybe a Wednesday, we're on a 1 hour block in the middle of the day so students can go for a 1 hour period instead of a 23-minute period. We're looking to expand our enrichment opportunities. We're looking to expand in specific areas such as PSAT tutoring, study skills and time management, and entrepreneurial club potentially is something that we would like to expand on. Not at the back, is there anything you want to add in terms of things that we're looking to?
I just think our teaching staff has done an outstanding job. I mean, none of this is possible without their willingness to make something work. So the teaching staff really deserves a ton of credit. Our kids have responded just like you would expect them to with the great students that we have. They're jumping in, they're benefiting. I think one of the great things to see is this is not always just for students who are struggling academically, but for students who want to take the next step forward. So when you see 25 AP students show up to get ready for their test, to get extra help on how to write that essay on that DDQ, that really makes a difference and adds up. So we're not just trying to target a population of students who aren't performing, but also targeting students that are performing and helping them perform even better. I think really what made this successful is Mr. Snook deserves a ton of credit. He developed an attendance rubric that helped our teachers and our students know where they're supposed to be each and every day. And he monitors it with fidelity each and every single day and holds our staff and our students accountable to where they're supposed to be. So without his efforts, it would not be moving nearly as well as it is. So he deserves a ton of credit.
And one of the other things up there, is it's always important, but it's even more important, it's growing in importance, is expanding mental health services, service opportunities for students. We have students who come in on Tuesday morning and last night at home was rough, and it gives them that opportunity first thing right off the early beginning of the day to see an adult and talk to an adult, to see their school counselor, to see Ms. Telford, and maybe change the direction of their day. So we want to continue to expand on that. So we did. We talked about yoga, or not yoga. Well, that'd be next. Yoga. We talked about that. So. All right, Ms. Calvin. Next slide.
No, it's staff feedback. I clicked.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk through that as we go. So the next couple slides, you're going to see some of the statements. We did a survey last week out to the staff to see how they were feeling about it, see about the changes that they felt that needed to take place. And so, go ahead with the slide. These are just some of the things that the staff has said about this period. More time with students who need the help, and the fact that I'm in my own room with easier access to my materials. Students are required to be there, and I've been able to tailor my intervention. I've worked with one student, a few, or a whole room full. This has actually got me considering how I use my planning and duty periods. I've called students out to study hall to work on things a few times. And students who have asked to report to intervention and makeups, they actually go, which is kind of nice at the high school level. Now there's more focus on remediation. Students are not distracted by having a whole class of Buckeye period kids Even with their intervention, there's also more responsibility on the students to show up when requested. Another comment was content experts get direct intervention time. Sometimes that teacher's speaking to, a co-talk class. So sometimes, that teacher needs to really kind of dive into the content in a small. Another comment up there, AP practice. Lots of students turning out for me. So again, like Mr. Jacobs said, this isn't just for students who are falling behind. It's for students who want to get to that next level. And so far, it's been a nice success. I'm working out some of the kinks, and I look forward to what we can do for next year, where it's just more of a routine of our students. So, we'll wait on that. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I just want to start off saying bravo to the elementary for the recycling. I've been in several districts, and it's hard to take off sometimes. And every county, city, ordinance, they do things a little differently with the recycling. It's not an easy thing sometimes to get the bins without any cost. And I think that's pretty cool. So that's a great job. Next slide. So I want to highlight the maintenance of grounds and talk a little food service and a little bit of transportation. Kind of an update from when I was here, I think it was in October, when we had the students here with the national safety, school safety and the kids. So maintenance updates, some of the highlights of getting the roof and HVC stuff fixed here at the elementary, the baseball fields and installations, and the softball field. I think you'll find this is the baseball field and softball field too are going to be one of the best in Northeast Ohio. And that's taken from the guys that are putting it together and people in the business tell us that before we even play those. So that's pretty exciting. Work orders process, we'll get to that in the next slide on how we process our work orders and where they come from. One of the things that came out of the problem we had at the beginning of the school year with the HVAC and the leaks and the mold and things, a partnership with Service Master and a response plan. So they've come in, they've marked all of our emergency, turn off our valves, our gas, our water, all those kind of things, so that anybody in the school could recognize with a nice big tag, if you have a sub-custodian or something like that, we have to recognize those things. We have an app now, we can go, they have the outlines and building maps of all of our schools. So in the event that we have another problem or emergency, they're quick to call me, I'm quick to call them, and they already know how many pieces of equipment to bring, how many men to bring, how many trucks to bring, based on the square footage and different things. So that's it's funny because once in a while we'll get a fire alarm that goes off, like the administration building had a couple of times, and they immediately call me. Hey, do you guys need me? Do you need help? So the response is kind of neat, but that's a good thing. Highlights and rebates, we've saved money on our lighting and things with $3,725. Work ahead. I got some pretty good news. We're going to find out tomorrow just how good it is with our high school roof. We did have set for replacement at the high school roof over the cafeteria and the offices and the kitchen. Due to the wind damage that occurred, we're looking to have that as part of our insurance claim now. We have a $1,000 deductible on our insurance. That's a $125,000 $2,000 roof that we're hoping to have replaced at very little cost. And then the athletic roof was damaged. Some of the gas lines and things when we had the strong winds on Sunday night. I think Superintendent Morgan updated you on that. So we're hoping to find out tomorrow specifically on that. Both the roof and the wall, the industrial arts and agricultural wing. That work will start. We'll start housing things as final exams end at the high school at the end of May. And then HVAC updates, preventive maintenance we're working on. Working on a lot of budget things right now for next year to see where we fall and to be able to do some better preventive maintenance things to avoid some of the HVAC problems that we experienced this year. Obviously, parking lots and driveways to do as well. Next slide. So this just gives you kind of a bar graph. We've had 169 school dues requests processed this year. So that's any time a teacher needs a pencil sharpener change. Maybe there's a roof leak. Maybe something needs delivered, gearboxes need to deliver. That's all done with a school do maintenance request. And the reason the primary bar is so big is because we had all those HVAC issues in August and September, and they were pretty good about, we asked them to, we said, please put those in. Didn't we, Don? So put them in. And, you know, they might have been low, and it might have been a reset. It wasn't a bad thing, you know, so that's why their bar is a little bit bigger. And some of the schools too, I mean, you look at the junior high smaller, a lot of it is a dynamic, and you know, how Mr. Flood runs his building, how his custodian runs his building in terms of maybe just saying to Jen, can you fix this today? I got it, good to go, don't even put it in. So it varies, but I just wanted to highlight that because from August to September, that's a lot of process when you just have, you know, like custodian, 2 at this building, but 1 in every other building, plus, you know, 1 maintenance person, and this horizon. Transportation highlights. We transport 3/4 of our students, over 3/4, almost 4/5. 78% of our students come to school if they get on a big yellow bus. And so we've increased the junior high school routes. We have added a high school AM drop-off now. Just recently, in the past couple of weeks, it's going smoothly, so they don't have to walk around and wanting, you know, again, get some more time for the Buckeye period. And the pedal-like braking system is in process. The pedal-like braking system is a system that when your red lights come on and your door opens, that those brakes automatically grab. So in the event that a driver would forget for some reason to hit that parking brake, the pedal-like automatically does it for them. So that's something that we're using PI monies for, correct? So that's the Data City Schools Transportation is installing this for us. We send the bus down, it takes them a couple of days to send another bus down. So we have a handful done, about 5 or 6 right now. We're in the process of doing that throughout the spring here. Parent Remind app followers. When we started August 1, we've increased 280 people, so we're getting more communication. In the fall, one of the criticisms from my department was, hey, how come we don't know about this? How come we don't know about that? And I didn't know how often they wanted to have the Remind apps. I didn't like overwhelming people with text messages, but I got a lot of feedback from parents, and so we had some peak times where giving them a whole lot, but we keep getting more followers every day, so that's a positive thing that they want to be communicative. And sometimes I'll do, along with that, we'll use our school messenger program, and I'll literally pick a whole route out. It'll take me some time, but I'll pick out a whole route out of the roster, send it to those individual parents and tell them, hey, we're going to have a problem today with a delay on a stop, or maybe they're getting home a little bit early. So we've also done some improvements on the elementary pickups and drop-offs in some developments, where we picked out on the main road, or we picked off. We have one development where there's 35 kids in one little spot, and it was becoming congested because of all the parents parking and dropping off, and not wanting kids to be cold. And so we were able to go street to street safely on right stops. We were able to do it on the way to school, do 3 or 4 stops. The biggest issue is on the way home when you drop, and the bus stops to go turn around, and 35 kids are going all directions. That's a problem. So we recognized that. I actually got on the route myself. We did some flyers and gave parents good information. So 4 out of 5 kids riding school bus. The work ahead field trip requests for spring. We're getting a lot of requests for field trips, especially for the elementary, which is all good. Later on, we hope to vote in and approve a new mechanic. He's hoping to start here really soon. He's going to start working in the evenings on Saturdays, and maybe a little bit on Sundays, depending on his schedule, while he finishes up his other district. Bus inspections. Again, those are monthly. We have annuals and we have spots. Right now, we're into our annual mode, so they'll come at the end of the month. It's the 28th of March, and then we have until actually the end of April to get those buses through. But there's one inspector. We have 7 or 8 buses to go through, so usually it goes pretty smoothly. And then we're looking at fleet maintenance. We'll bring in a new person, and we're hoping to hire a second mechanic real soon. A bargaining unit mechanic. So field trips, let's now help me with some of these projections, and just to give you an idea, we have a 4-inch binder that we keep our, called the yellow copy of the field trip request forms. And I wasn't here last year, I don't have those field trips, where they went or what happened to them. My secretary, Ms. Judy, she said we had 1 4-inch binder left. Right now, we have 1 4-inch binder from August to December, and we have another one that's half full for the remainder of this year. So we have increased field trips. We don't have an exact number for you, but you can see the financial costs and the projections of how much is athletic and band trips. We did add, from what I've been told, add band trips, plus we added a bus to the band trips. So that all adds into all of it. And we started transporting bowling and gymnastics this year. And then next year with the new conference and a little bit more travel, and this year we're way over budget on our fuel. And it's something that we're looking at, and we'll bring it to you hopefully next month to get some increases there because buses can't run without fuel. Diesel costs has gone up. We do have a gas bus, and that's a good thing. Our next bus will probably be gas as well. Next slide. Okay. Say that again? Yeah, so that doesn't cost any fuel. That projection there is just salary cost for this field trip. So in a lot of cases, drivers are going into overtime depending on how many hours they are. In other cases, it's just going in, they're just getting their regular pay. And that's at the field trip. So moving on to food service. Lunches are up from last year. I will say that's a positive. The number's a little bit misleading in the primary and the intermediate, the way they go into the system. But we do have an increase in the number of students. When you're looking at that data, especially at the high school, and I'll show you the next slide for comparison, the high school's got about 800 students enrolled, but we have a lot of students, especially seniors, that aren't in school. Is that correct, guys? Good percentage that are doing alternative things. So obviously they might not be eating lunch there. So it's a little bit different. And again, I'll show you that on the next slide. End of year balances, Ms. Knapp and I did a little comparison, 18, 19, 17, 18 from, we did to December, right?
That is November.
That was the end of February, sorry. So you can see some of the balance and negative balances and how we supplement. And again, food service is expensive, and it's something that I'm looking really hard at. I will say one of the highlights is we did bring the catering back in-house, and we were able to fill 13 of our 16 requests so far this year. The only reason why we couldn't fill the other 3 was in a couple cases, maybe the principal's preference in terms of maybe they wanted to do their own thing, or maybe it was a time thing, they got in a little bit late. This Luther goes meetings. Next slide. So there you can kind of see the average lunches. We do have about 25% or 1 out of every student, every 4 students buying lunch. It's higher when you look at it K to 8 because obviously at the high school level there's a lot of a la carte. They don't get as many actual lunches. At the high school it's 1 out of every 6 students. So overall it's about 25%. So it has improved from last year. And the orange bar kind of indicates that. That's kind of synopsis of the 3 departments that I oversee. The opportunity.
All right, we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Item A, approval of amended Medina ESC 1819 service agreement. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the revised service agreement with Medina County ESC for the fiscal year 2019 in the amount of $7,440 based on an increase of 120 hours for psychology services. A copy of the agreement is attached to board members' agendas as Appendix C. Item B, approval of ESC service agreement for the 2019-20 school year. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the service agreement with Medina County ESC for the 2019-2020 school year. Copy of the agreement is attached to board members' agendas as Appendix B. Item C, approval of the ESC audiology agreement. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the amended agreement with the Summit County ESC for the fiscal year 2019 for an increase of 8 days of audiology services. A copy of the agreement is attached to the board members' agendas as Appendix E. Item D, approval of school officer agreement and memorandum of understanding. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the school resource officer agreement and memorandum of understanding between the Medina County Sheriff and the Buckeye Local School District for the 2018-19 school year. A copy of the agreement is attached to the board members' agenda as Appendix F. Item E, junior high field trip correction. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the corrected field trip fee for the Buckeye Junior High School students to Cleveland, Ohio. The day trip is scheduled for May 10th, 2019. The cost of the field trip was approved at the February 2019 Board of Education meeting for $78. The corrected cost is $79. There is no additional cost to the district. Item F, approval of MOU agreements. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the MOU for the College Credit Plus CCP partnership agreement for the 1920 school year with the following colleges. Number 1, Kent State University, Appendix G. Item 2, Ashland University, Appendix H. Item 3, Lorraine County Community College, Appendix I. Item 4, University of Akron, Appendix J. A copy of the MOUs will be on file in the Treasurer's office. Item G, approval of job description. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the head mechanic job description. A copy of the job description is attached to board members' agendas as Appendix K. Item H, approval of mechanic MOU. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the MOU agreement between Buckeye Local Schools and OC Local 216 for bargaining unit mechanics. A copy of the agreement is attached to board members' agendas as Appendix S. Item I, out-of-state field trip. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve an out-of-state field trip for the Buckeye Junior High 8th grade. Their field trip to Washington, D.C. is scheduled for April 29th through May 1st, 2020. There is no cost to the district. A copy of the trip itinerary is attached to board members' agendas as Appendix L. Item J, approval of fingerprinting services. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education provide fingerprinting services to the superintendent's office in accordance with ORC to staff and community. The fees will be as follows. Item A, FBI only is $29. Item B, DCI only, $27. Item C, total combined fee of $56. Item K, 2019-2020 revised calendar. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the back of the revised 2019-20 Buckeye Local School calendar as presented. A copy of the calendar back is attached to board members' agendas as Appendix N.
A motion on the superintendent's recommendations, please.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Any questions or comments on any of these items?
Do you want to just highlight what the change on that happened was?
Yes, it does not impact any of the days of the calendar. It does identify a work day versus a professional development day.
Roll call.
Hanson,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Savarchi,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Compliment.
Yes.
Item L, final reading of the following policies. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the policies listed below as presented. Copies of the complete policies are attached to board members' agendas as Appendix M. Item 1, Policy 1521.02, Administrative Pre-Employment Drug Testing. Item 2, Policy 3120.02, Professional Staff Pre-Employment Drug Testing. Item 3, Policy 4120.02, Classified Staff Pre-Employment Drug Testing.
A motion, please.
Motion.
A second. I'll second it. Any questions on policies? Roll call.
Stahl,
Yes.
Savarchi,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Parker,
No.
Compliment.
Yes.
Item M, final reading of student curriculum approval. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the novel To Kill a Mockingbird for high school English submitted by Dr. Christine Collins. Copy of the novel is available for board members to review upon request. Item N, final reading of student curriculum approval. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the novel Of Mice and Men for high school English submitted by Dr. Christine Collins. A copy of the novel is available for board members to review upon request.
A motion for these items?
So,
Second? Second. Any question on these curriculum items? Roll call.
Parker,
yes.
Savarchi,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Compliment.
Yes. New business.
Item A, Buckeye Local Schools 2020-21 calendar. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education review the Buckeye Local Schools 2021 school calendar. A copy of the calendar is attached to the board members' agenda as Appendix O. Item B, first reading of student curriculum. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education review Pearson's My Perspectives for Adoption for the English Language Arts Program for grades 6 through 8, submitted by Dr. Christina Collins. Copy of the price quote summary is attached to the board members' agenda as Appendix E. Item C, first reading of student curriculum. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education review the novel All About My Life for adoption for advanced 8th grade English language arts submitted by Dr. Christina Collins. A copy was provided to the Board of Education members for review upon request. Item D, first reading of student curriculum. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education secondary review the math adoption of Pearson's Envision 2.0 program for grades 6 through 10 submitted by Dr. Christina Collins. A copy of the price quote summary is attached to the board members' agenda as Appendix Q. Personnel. Item A, certified personnel. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the following certified personnel items as presented. Number 1, employment. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the hire of Brittany Cates, guidance counselor for Buckeye Junior High, effective August 19, 2019 for the 2019-2020 school year. Ms. Cates will be paid per the negotiated agreement at Master Step 3 for a salary of $51,133. Item 2, maternity leave of absence. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the maternity leave of absence for Ashley Sarmiento, 4th grade teacher. Ms. Sarmiento's approximate dates for maternity leave will be April 16, 2019 to the end of the 2018 school year. Ms. Sarmiento plans to return to the 2019-20 school year. Item 3, certified reduction in force. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the following certified reduction in force effective 2019-2020 school year. This reduction is in force as a result of a decrease in student enrollment for 4th grade teacher. Item 4, voluntary change of employment. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve a voluntary transfer of Tracy Bowles, 4th grade teacher, to 5th grade teacher effective August 19, 2019 to the 2019-20 school year. Ms. Bowles will be paid per the negotiated contract. Item 5, resignation. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the resignation of Cindy Harvey, 0.5 FTE, high school English and high school social studies, effective May 31st, 2019. Can I go back and correct that as N.05?
Yes.
FTE. So recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the resignation of Cindy Harvey, 0.05 FTE, high school English and 0.05 FTE, high school social studies, effective May 31st, 2019. Item B, certified substitutes. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the attached list of certified substitutes tutors recommended by the National School DSC to work on an as-needed basis for the 2018-19 school year. A copy of the list is attached to board members' agendas as Appendix R. Item C, classified personnel. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the following classified personnel items as presented. Number 1, resignation. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the resignation of Max Woods, mechanic, effective March 1st, 2019. Item 2, employment. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve to hire John Pelagonia as a head bus mechanic, effective March 13, 2019. Mr. Pelagonia will be paid for the negotiated contract. Item 3, continuing contract. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve a continuing contract for Greg Campbell, custodian, effective February 14, 2019. Item 4, family medical leave of absence, FMLA. Recommend that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the extension of the family medical leave of absence for Joseph Shortak, custodian. His approximate return to work date is updated to March 28, 2019. Item 5, family medical leave of absence, FMLA. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the extension of the family medical leave of absence for Denise Zagar. Her approximate return to work date is updated to April 15, 2019. Item 6, family medical leave of absence, FMLA. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the family medical leave of absence for Gail Luther, food service supervisor, effective March 11, 2019. Ms. Luther has requested 6 to 8 weeks of leave. Item 7, family medical leave of absence, FMLA. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the family medical leave of absence for Cleus Marty, head custodian, effective March 25th to approximately April 9, 2019. And number 8, unpaid medical leave of absence. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve an unpaid medical leave of absence after exhausting all allowable paid sick leave for Carol Schneider, bus driver. Her estimated return date is to be determined by physician's dictation. Item D, supplemental contract approval. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the following supplemental contracts pending certifications as well as resignations effective for the 2018-19 school year as listed. Item E, OHSAA tournament workers. Recommend the Buckeye Board of Education approve the following individuals to provide services for OHSA tournaments hosted by Buckeye local schools. Tournament workers are paid a contractual amount agreed upon by the OHSAA as presented.
We have a motion for these items.
So moved.
And a second? I'll second it. Any questions? Roll call.
Kubarti,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Manson,
Yes.
Barclay,
Yes.
Duncan.
Yes. We are at the point in the agenda for board comments. I'd just like to thank everyone for coming this evening and sharing program updates. And I'd also like to wish all of you a really relaxing spring break as it comes pretty soon now. Mr. Barco? All right. Mr.
It
Salter?
was just great to see so many kids recognized tonight and understanding all the hard work that's behind that as well. Janice, expectation, for us. And all of my life is an excellent book, so very moving and very good choice.
Mr. Matson?
Thank you for being here.
Mrs. Claverty?
Same. Enjoy spring break, and I know it can't come over too soon, so enjoy.
Will entertain a motion for adjournment
So move.
and a second. Roll call, please.
Kubarti,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Manson, Barclay,
Yes.
Duncan.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.